Welcome to Meet the Candidate. My name is Tyrell Clemens, and I have the honor to introduce someone who's running for District 2, Mr. John Landrine. How you doing today, sir?
Absolutely fantastic. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
All right,
But look, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah,
I remember we started years ago. We had events that we did, the Care Awards, and a lot of stuff, and you helped me a lot. So I'm really honored to have the opportunity to talk to you about running for office here.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking your time, knowing how busy you are.
Oh yeah, but for you, I think you're worth it. So let me ask you some questions. I have some questions I'm going to ask you, but I also have some questions from many concerned citizens that they want to ask you about your running for office.
Okay.
The very first thing I want to ask you is like, look, I know you well, but the viewers may not know you as well as I do. So just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background. Just tell me something about you.
Well, I'm a veteran.
Okay.
First of all, I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force.
Well, thank you for your service.
I appreciate, thank you. And I served that short bit of time serving our country, all in Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
So I stayed there. After my time serving our country, I went right into sales and marketing, which turned out to be a 35-year career. I just stayed in that whole field. Started with just as a salesman, started selling Kirby vacuum cleaners.
I heard about good old Kirby.
Kirby vacuum. I did very well.
Okay.
I did very well and became a sales supervisor there and a sales manager. Then I moved up though, went to Gulf Industries Corporation, which is really where I think I really cut my teeth at. Gulf Industries was an outdoor advertising company for independent businesses.
Right.
And I became a regional sales manager over most of the West Coast.
Okay.
So I managed the whole coast, all the way up to Portland and Washington, with the exception of the Bay Area. Right. And I was the first African-American regional sales manager, in fact, in the company.
Okay, so break some barriers there.
I did break some barriers there. And then I went on to NetMagic Systems, where I started as a regional manager and became a vice president of sales and marketing. Okay. And so that was my first experience at C-level. And NetMagic was a software development company in New York, and that was my kind of foray into into the IT field.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, because I hear you said you did your military in Texas, and then you did some things in Florida, and then we had New York. How did you get over here to this good old country place we call Greenville, North Carolina?
Well, that's the best part.
Okay.
What happened was, well, after NetMagic, which is in New York, okay, then I went back to California.
Again, big city.
Back to California with ExecuTrain Corporation, where I was the CEO of one of ExecuTrain's offices. Now they had offices all around the world, and I was CEO and general manager of two of the offices in Southern California. My sister, Dr. Hope Landrine, was also out there at the time. My sister, Dr. Hope Landrine, recently passed away, too, I have to say. I'm sorry about that. Very recently. Thank you. But anyway, Hope then moved here.
Follow your sister.
She moved here to Winterville, and she was a professor right here at our own ECU. And she started calling me, and after ExecuTrain, I was ready to calm down. I started getting into my own business, opening up my own consulting firm, which I still now manage. And Hope starts calling, come on out to Greenville. I live in Winterville. You got to come out to Greenville. And I'm like, I never even heard of this Wintergreen.
I do Greenville like that.
I wasn't too excited about it, I have to admit. I'm in Southern California. I'm having martinis in Malibu. And but she kept talking about it, and I finally came out. She said, that condo you spent $1,500 a month for?
Oh yeah.
I said, yes. She said, well, you could probably find something out here for like $500 or $600. I said, it can't hurt to take a look at the place, Anyway, I came out and did take a look. I love the people. I love the cost of living. I love the environment. And I said, I'll stay.
So we hooked you up here in Greenville. Now, what I'm hearing is you did a lot. So you did military, so you were a leader in that area. You did sales. You rose in the ranks there. You were a leader there. And then you had your own consulting firm. So you've been helping people and working a lot. Talk to me about the transition from the businessman, the military man, to now want to do politics. How do we get that transition?
Well, the whole time, I always, even while working full time, the whole time I always gave back.
So this isn't new?
No.
Okay.
I've been involved. I was a chaplain at the Brunswick Community Hospital in Brunswick County. I was a hospice a leader with several different, with Lower Cape Fear Hospice. I worked with them. I was the director of the Brunswick Arts Council, where we created tons of programs involving art to help limit lower high school dropout rates and teen pregnancy rates, raise millions of dollars there.
Wow.
Here in Greenville, I worked with Koinonia Christian Center Church as the minister to a couple of different nursing home ministries, helping them. I worked at Crossroads, a homeless center.
So what I'm hearing is you've done a lot. So
I've done all those things.
So it's not new for you to work.
To work, okay? And to give back.
And it's definitely not new to give back. I mean, I'm hearing all of that. But what made you finally get to the mindset, you know what, I want to run for city council? How do we get there?
Well, you know, I've always been involved with all that giving back and the things I've done. I've always been involved in politics on the other side. I've always supported someone running for office, and so I could see what it was like. A lot of people kept telling me, you should run for office, you should run for office. I was like, no. They said, but you got passion. I was like, I've got too much passion.
Sometimes too much, right?
Too much. I said, I don't want to do that. But after a while, you know, you get a little older, you get a little more mature, you start to
calm down a little
bit. And people started talking about it. And like I said, out of all the different places I lived, I got in it. I really started falling in love with this place. And I could see the growth.
Right.
And I know that with the growth, I've seen this before. Like you mentioned, all these different places I live, I've seen this type of growth before.
Right.
I've seen what growth looks like when it's at the direction of the people, and it grows a certain way.
Correct.
Then I see what growth looks like when it's hijacked by big money and by special interests. I've seen what that growth looks like. In a way, I've seen our future, two different futures. And that's when I decided, you know, when people started saying you should run for city council, I decided maybe I could help make sure that we stay on the right growth path.
Well, let me ask you this, because I hear you've seen the good and you've seen the bad in growth. And Greenville is definitely a place that's growing. The potential is amazing that we have here. But what about you in particular? I mean, obviously you've seen a lot, but what makes you think that you will be such a great council member? What do you have to offer that separates you from so many of the others?
Well, there's the combination and the timing. One, with the not being raised here and being born here, so I do have that different look, that different aspect, a fresh look at things. And two, with the combination of my experience as a CEO and at Brunswick County as the executive director. You know, I've dealt with boardrooms. I've dealt with a bunch of executives who don't look like me.
I understand that.
And so I started to learn how to work with them and how to deal with them, as well as how to executive train. I had a multi-million-dollar budget and managed some 40 or 50 people in 2 different locations. I also realized not only the fiduciary responsibility, but I also realized the importance of the decisions I made. And decisions I made, sometimes it seemed like small things to me. I started to see how they affected the quality of life on the people that work for me. You know, and I took that seriously. And I know that in the city council, when I have that combination of empathy, of understanding, you know, the effects that eventually results in the people, and having the ability to work with people on both sides of the fence, on both sides of the aisle, I think this is a unique combination. And
so what I hear you say is you have, in your experience, you've worked with a variety of types of people, people that don't always look like you. You've had the ability to manage large amounts of money and have responsibility for large amounts of money. And so you have a lot of experience and you've done a lot of different things. So, I mean, it definitely sounds like you're on the right track. Now, I have a lot of questions for you, but before I go to all my questions, we could talk all day. Let's talk about some of the other people who have asked some questions. You have a Pastor Bob Braxton. Now, I know you know Mr. Braxton well. I think he's actually your treasurer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so his question, he actually wrote in a question, and his question is this: as a member of the council, you will have to work with people from all sides of the political fence, people who may not look like you, as you just said. So tell us, briefly, what in your background, you said some things already, but what in your background makes you think you're qualified to work with people who may not agree with you, who may not look like you, who may not sympathize or empathize the way you do? So how do you feel qualified to work with those people?
Piggybacking just on the last thing I was saying, is that experience as executive director and and as a CEO. Contrary to popular belief, CEO doesn't just run everything in the corporation and just what he says goes.
It's not possible. I wish it worked that way.
It doesn't work that way. So I've always had to answer to a lot of people, and I always also had to help persuade or bring people around to my way of thinking sometimes. And one of the ways I do that, just very quickly, is to first of all remind people of the ultimate goal.
Okay.
What is the goal? What's the main thing we're trying to accomplish? And usually that goal is the same. Right. We all want the same things. Right. So once I can get people, let's focus on the main goal. What's the main thing that we want? What's the main thing that we want for Greenville? What's the main thing that we want for each district?
So when you're basic, so you make sure you this main goal, and that's how you get them together.
Then the only difference is, okay, what's the best way to get there?
Right, right.
And then we start bringing over, then we can work. Then we can work on that.
But that definitely makes sense. So you make sure everybody understands what we're working for.
We're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Exactly.
And once we realize we're on the same page, then we can work on how to accomplish our joint objectives.
Exactly.
So that question is from Pastor Braxton. But I have another question for a resident. Her name is Molly Holderman, and she asked this question right here. How would you address Greenville's explosive growth to ensure that we end up more like Durham? And not like Jacksonville or Fayetteville, that has spread out places all over, a strip mall here, strip mall there. How can we be more like Durham, which has a more vibrant city atmosphere than the other locations? No offense to anybody who's from Jacksonville or Fayetteville, but how can we make Greenville that way? What do you think you can do to help make that happen?
Well, the city already has that goal. Like I was saying, we want to look at a goal. Let's see if we got the same thing that we're working on.
Right.
That goal was established a few years ago. I believe around September 2016. It's called Horizons 2026.
Horizons 2026.
It's Greenville's vision, Greenville's plan. It was put together by the city council, and a whole ton of different people worked hard on this plan for the goals and the vision and how Greenville was to grow. Okay. And all that. And the council at the time was as diverse or as bipartisan, I guess, if you will, that you could put it. Mayor Alan Thomas was mayor at the time. Okay. Candy Smith was on the council. Right. P.J. Conley, mayor now, was actually on the council. Rose Glover was on the council. So all these people were on the city council at the time. Rick Smiley was there, and they came together and passed this vision for exactly how to grow. I think all we have to do is sort of stay with that vision. Stay with that vision, keep that goal in mind, and we'll get there.
So what I'm hearing you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The vision is already there. We just have to work on implementing the vision that's already there. And
not go off on tangents. There's going to come things that where the desire is to go this way, go that way. We need to stick to that plan.
So what I hear you say is your primary objective as a council member is to make sure you make sure everybody sticks to the plan that's already been in place. Let's not diverge and go here, go there, go here, go there. Let's stick to the plan.
Stay within the confines of the vision that we all have.
You said this name, so because you said the name, I have to mention it. And this is actually a question from another one of our anonymous people who don't really want to tell you their name. You said the name Rose Glover. Okay. Now, you're running against Ms. Rose Glover. She's an incumbent who's been in this District 2 seat for 20 years. Now, I mean, everybody know the name is it's a powerful name. It's been around for a while. She's been here for 20 years. My question is this, and the question from the anonymous person is, what is it that you believe that you can actually do better than Councilwoman Ms. Rose Glover? Or tell us, if you don't want to say it that way, why do you think it's time for there to be a transition in that seat? Why should you replace Councilwoman Rose Glover, who's been in the seat for such a long period of time?
You know, I know Rose. I haven't known her for very long. In fact, right before I decided to run for office, I called her up.
Okay.
And said,
tell us about that.
And said, Council Member Glover, I'm running for office. I happen to be in your district.
So how did she take that?
She said, okay. I said, I just wanted to meet you and talk to you. Took her out to lunch. Okay. We sat down and had almost a 3-hour lunch. We talked, we laughed. We met eye to eye on a lot of things.
Okay.
We're both ministers, and we clicked right there. I liked her. I like her. She liked me. We got along well. I think we're friends. As far as what people think, who might do something better, that I have to leave to each voter to make that decision. I'm running my race. I can tell you this, though. I can tell you a couple of organizations who have made such a decision, who have looked at the 3 people running for this seat, District 2, and they've made a decision. One is the Pitt County African American Caucus. Okay. They've endorsed me. Okay, out of the 3, and any organization that really understands District 2, at least part of District 2, on the west side, it's definitely African American Caucus.
The District 2, give us a quick idea of where District 2 is located.
A lot of it is on the west side of Greenville, but then it stretches in a very gerrymandered way.
I know how it goes.
Around much of Greenville. Part of District 2 comes around over towards Frog's Neck, and on the other side of Greenville Boulevard, up Greenville Boulevard, a little bit of it even stretches over into Winterville. Okay. So it's a while. So we got one place, the Pitt County Black Caucus, you said, is endorsed. African American Caucus. African American Caucus. Then who else is there's the Equality North Carolina, which is the lobbying body for the LGBT community statewide. They know that I'll also bring together everyone. Everyone, regardless of sex, creed, orientation, color, whatever. Right. I'm going to work with everyone. Then there is the entire Pitt County Democratic Party. They've endorsed my campaign because they know that I'm going to try to do what's best for everybody. They know that. And then finally, the North Carolina Police Benevolent Association. Okay, they've endorsed my campaign. The PBA has endorsed my campaign. They know that I'm going to do what it takes to work the community together with the police and our officers, and I appreciate them too.
John, I'm gonna do this. I know this is an uncomfortable thing to do, but this is how I am. I know you telling me about all the people that endorsed you, or why they think you are a better candidate, or why they think you're a more superior candidate, or why they think you will do a better job. But I'm gonna hold you to it. Tell me, why do you think you are fit for this job? Matter of fact, tell the camera, talk to the main camera. I want you to tell us, why do you think you, out of everyone else, why do you think you are more qualified for this position and will do a good job?
I bring the vision that the city has, that the whole Greenville has, the vision, and I bring the energy, and I bring a fresh perspective. You know, there's a lot of times when you get into something and you've been there, I don't have those anchors from the past. Okay. I don't have those anchors weighing on me. I have no preconceived notions about anything. Right. So I'm going to come in with a fresh perspective. With that fresh perspective, with that energy, and my business knowledge, fiduciary responsibility, and experience, I'm definitely the man to do the job. All
right. I like that. One thing you said is you have a fresh perspective and you don't have any anchors. Let's talk briefly about anchors. One of the things in politics that has been an anchor for so many people is money. Yeah. Special interest groups have come through, and because of how much they pledged to your campaign or how they helped you, how they scratched your back and everything, you feel obligated. Oh man, I got to vote this way because of them, and because of that, I got to do this. And so my question is actually one that comes from Greenville City Council member, Mr. Calvin Mercer. He asked the question. He's also a professor of religion, and he asked you this question. What will you do to make sure that your vote, your personal vote in the council, is not bought out by those special interest groups that care so much about money? What will you do to make sure that your vote is not bought by them in a way that lines their pockets but hurts the citizens of Greenville? What will you personally do to make sure that doesn't happen?
You know, I don't think I've ever told you this, as long as we've known each other. All right. At one time I had a Series 7. Okay, I was a investment banker.
You definitely didn't tell me that.
I was a stockbroker, and it was an area I started to go in a little while. But I could say this, that I just can't be bought. If I could have, I'd been rich and retired by now.
both of us would be.
I'll tell you what, I used to always say, my saying used to be, if I had a job that paid me $500,000 a year, if it meant by any fraction compromising my integrity or my faith, I'd walk out of that job in an instant. I never thought that actual test would come up, but it did.
Oh, it actually happened?
It did. As a broker, I was. They were very statistical, and they knew what my first year income was going to look like.
Right.
My first year income was, after my first full year in the business, which is really about 16 to 18 months. Okay, my first full year in the business, that I would have made $375,000 first year. I would have made $550,000 second year. Ooh. I would have made $1.5 million third year, and would have easily retired by my fifth year. However, once I found out the details of what this particular organization was into, I got to say, if you ever seen the movie Boiler Room, it's not unlike. In fact, that company in that movie was the sister company of the one I worked for. And when I found out what they were doing, it literally made me sick to my stomach. When I was able to see behind the curtain and what they were doing, I said, I can't do it, and I walked out of a $500,000 job like that.
Let me ask. I gotta. All right. You were in a job that you had a potential to make $1 million a year. And because of your morals and because of your ethics and because of your values, you said, I don't care about how much money I'm paid. I don't care about how much they're offering me. I can't do it. I don't think a special interest group has a chance. But let me ask you a question about these. Are that business hiring right now?
Actually, most of them are in jail.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're going to be hiring me. So let me ask you this. Since you don't, obviously you're not going to be pulled by the monetary attraction of these special interest groups. Well, what do you think is going to be your strongest asset or your strongest ability? You have a lot that you named. You've reached across the aisle multiple times. You've managed money. You've had experiences. You have a fresh perspective. If you could put one thing out there and say this above all. This above all is the reason why you vote for John. This above all is the reason why I should be in charge of the council member. This above all. Now you listed a lot, but give me one. I want you to narrow me down to one thing. If we had to anchor, as you said earlier, anchor yourself down on one trait, what do you think would be your most valuable one?
That's a good question. I'd have to say it's simply what the people want.
Okay.
I'm going to do what it takes to deliver what they want. How do I find out what they want? By doing exactly what I've been doing. It's not going to stop after the campaign. I've been going out, knocking on doors, and asking people personally. I'll tell you my exact word-for-word presentation.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Hi, my name is John Landrine. I'm running for Greenville City Council for this district. The election's not until November, and I'd surely appreciate your vote at that time. But in the meantime, I'm wondering if there's anything that you think the city should be doing for you, or any complaints that you have, any issues. What are the issues that's on your mind right now? And that's what I'm asking people. And surprisingly, so far, what I've been hearing, one of the main things has been street safety, speed bumps, street calming situations.
Oh yeah.
There's surprisingly less, at least it seems like, I haven't verified this, less speed bumps and street calming apparatuses in District 2 than there are in some of the other parts of Greenville. So I have to look into that. In fact, I started a petition to get speed bumps out by the Dream Park over there.
So you already started stuff. You haven't even been elected yet?
I started a petition to get that. Even if for whatever reason, I'm going to take that petition to the council regardless. Okay.
So you're working already, because obviously you care about the people. You've heard this concern, and despite the fact that it hasn't been done yet, you haven't been elected yet, you're going to already start working.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, that's powerful. Look, I've enjoyed this time talking to you. It's been great. just hearing some of the things that I didn't know about. I never knew that you turned down. God was with you on that one, brother. Turning down that salary like that's amazing. But there's been so much that you shared. I mean, I knew that you did the sales career. I knew about that for years. I didn't really know about the military background. So that was very. So if you've been a veteran, you've been in sales. You've been a CEO. You've reached across the aisle numerous times. You have ministerial experience. You're a chaplain. What haven't you done so far other than this is obviously a good next step for you?
I think it's a natural progression.
Right.
I think it's, from my business background to my volunteer background.
Right.
As so many people for years thought I was retired because
Right.
I used to volunteer almost as 40, 50 hours a week. They're like, how do you afford to do that?
Wow.
Okay, but I wasn't. I still have a consulting business. I still work.
Right.
But I think it's a natural progression from that combination of business and empathy and helping people raise their quality of life. You put that together, and I think it comes out to city council.
Okay.
I just think.
So if you put all the things that you've done, all those things together, it's a natural progression to city council.
Seems like it's led me right here.
Well, and look, this has been an amazing ride. I'm confident that you'll do a good job if elected. Look, I hope you all enjoyed this interview. I've learned a lot about Mr. John Landrine. He's done a lot of amazing things. I'm confident that he can do an amazing job if elected. In District 2. So District 2 is a wide area. It covers a lot of ground, and you have an amazing candidate right here, Mr. John Landrine. We thank you, and we appreciate you watching Meet the Candidate.